Hi, welcome to Robyn's Roost. Today I'm going to show you how to make a cute little book card. So I'm going to show you a couple samples here. So it's using the faux leather technique to create, it's supposed to look like a little leather booklet, right? So the thought is for one of your guys. Using the He's the Man stamp set. So let's just flip the camera and I'll show you how to make one of these. So we're going to start with 2 pieces of soft suede that have been cut 6 inches by 2 3/4. Now we're actually going to cut it down again at some point, but I'm starting with the 6-inch length because it's easier for me to score the folds, and then I'm going to trim the edges. So we're going to score at 3 inches. That's our book fold. And then to make our little crink in the cover so the pages go back and forth, we're going to score again at 3 1/4 and at 2 3/4. So we're going to do that same thing with both pieces. So we're going to do 3 scores on here. And now we're done with the scoring. Now we're going to do a bunch of sponging on these, blending to make it look like a leather cover. I'm just going to give these score lines a little bit of a crease so we kind of can see, so you can see what I'm doing here. I'm making our little mini book cover. So these are going to get put together into our book. And a lot of times when you put the 2 pieces together, they're not going to be totally even. So that's where I'm going to cut this down now to 2 3/4 so that all these edges line up. Now if you wanted to make this bigger, you can, but my goal in doing the 2 3/4 inch sizes was so that this little bugger will fit into one of our 3x3 envelopes. So if you do a 3x3, everything works out really easy for sizes, but you can get it in the envelope, but you can't get it back out. So my big trimmer is not something I can show you here, but if you don't have a trimmer that will go through 4 layers of cardstock at a time, you can cut this with the scissors, or of course cut each layer separately, but it kind of defeats the purpose of getting them all even. So I am going to go on over there and trim this up. So you can see that gave me a nice sharp edge. Now you probably would be okay leaving this at the 3 inches as well, because if you put the envelope or the card into the envelope this way, you do have that little bit extra room here. I haven't experimented with that. This is my 4th card that I'm making, so maybe by the 6th one I'll have it all figured out. But I'm in the mood and I wanted to do this video today. So the next thing that I do is I'm going to measure, and I'm just gonna, my brain works a little bit weird with numbers, so I'm gonna move this over a 1/4 inch. So I'm pretending this is 3 inches, right? Don't ask me why it works that way, but I'm gonna mark this at 1 inch and at 2 inches, which, let me move it over if your brain works like normal. So it's going to be 7/8 and 1 7/8 that you're going to make little marks right on your fold line. Now I'm going to be using, I think it's called a crocodile. It's an ancient hole punching tool that I have. So you're going to have to put holes in all 4 of these layers. So you can do it one at a time, you know, taking them apart, punching the first one, putting that together, punching again through those holes, putting them together, punching. You can keep doing that if you have a hole punch that'll only do single holes, but I am going to run over to my little ancient dinosaur over there, and it actually will put holes through all of this at one time. So now we have our card base or our book base designed and ready. Now we get to do our leather look to it. So I'm going to start with, first of all, let's cut some of our decorative pieces so that when we are distressing, we can just do an assembly line and distress all the layers at once. Now I'm doing my decorative layers with crumb cake colored so that there's some contrast between the two. Now these are, and I've forgotten already, just cut them. Okay, so these are 2 1/4 inch squares, and I have 2 of those. Then I have one that is 1 3/8 by 2, and then I have a 2 1/2 by 1 inch. So those are my 4 pieces, and of course it's going to depend upon what stamps you end up using on what sizes you need. So now I've experimented with a couple different ink colors to get my leather look, and I've found that I really like Early Espresso, Cajun Craze, Soft Suede, and Pale Papaya, and I actually do them in this order, right? I start with the darkest and then kind of work my way down. Now if you have Cinnamon Cider, which is a retired color, I like that better than the Cajun Craze. You have to be really careful with the Cajun Craze not to get it too dark, but it works well too. The Cinnamon Cider is just a little bit more subtle. Let me just pull in. Now here's a sample where I used, let me see, I wrote it on the back. I didn't use the Early Espresso, so I went with Suede, Crumb Cake, the Cinnamon, and Papaya. And in this light, it looks like it really got a much yellower tinge without the really dark Early Espresso. So I like the Early Espresso in there. Here you can see, here's one that has more of the dark in it. Stamping Crooked, so of course that was a scrap. Okay, so let us start here, and I almost hate to do this on this brand new clean sheet of grid paper, but let's go ahead. So my cover, of course, with the suede is not going to look quite as leathery, but and I'll speed this up so you don't have to go through the agony of every piece. Now I'm doing the inside and the outside because you're going to see all the pages, right? Now on our decorative layers, we only have to do one side because we're going to be gluing them down to our pages. Okay, so that's it for our Early Espresso. And I do really like the crumb cake is my favorite one for to do the leather technique on. Now we're going to add in our suede. Now the other thing that I've thought about doing with my covers is crumpling them, but I haven't gotten brave enough to try it yet. So our next color is going to be the Cajun Craze, and this one you have to have a kind of a light hand with because you don't want too much of the that orangey red, but you do want a little bit of it in here. So you might not want a real juicy ink pad on this one. The others, it's nice to have a juicy ink pad. So for our final color, we're going to pull in the Pale Papaya. Now when you're doing these, you're going to think you aren't doing anything, but let me just grab a piece of these that is totally undone. So here is a soft suede piece that is not distressed to make it look like leather. And here is a piece of the crumb cake. So you can see it does add a different color. And as you're doing it, it doesn't almost seem like it. Now let's start our stamping and decorating, which is kind of the fun part, right? We've done the work. Now let's have some fun. So I am using, let me pull the stamp set in here, the He's All That stamp set, which is kind of, it's a guy one, kind of centered around Father's Day, but we're not going to use it for Father's Day. My actual thought when I was making this little booklet card was an anniversary. And I just want to say, give my husband a shout out when I bought this. This is the stamp that really drew my heart. It says, "To the man who does everything." So my husband is that guy. He's the one who, you know, you take whatever's broken to and he fixes it for you. So just wanted to give him a little plug for my sweetheart. So we're going to do our stamping with the Early Espresso. Kind of keep it all in the brown family. And we're going to start with the Hello Handsome. And this is going to be our cover piece. And then we want the Holy Smokes or something. Yeah, Holy Smokes, You're Amazing. Oops. There we go. And then Every Day with You is Another Adventure. My husband and I like to travel and go hiking, and so I like this one too with the compass rose. I sometimes think we're lost, but he's never lost. Or at least he doesn't let me know he's lost. And then we've got the old hippie camper, the old VW camper, Together for the Long Haul. Our camper's a little bigger than this. We have a 32-foot fifth wheel that we live in quite comfortably when we want to. Okay, and then I also wanted to do, and this is new, I didn't do it on my other ones, but I am going to pull in this little corner piece, and I'm stamping this on the soft suede. I almost wanted that darker. Let's see if we can get it darker. There we go, that one's darker. Now I'm going to cut these out so my little lines that I just did aren't going to hurt us at all. Okay, so I only want those for the front cover, so I only need 2. And I'm not going to cut those right away because I think I'll lose them if I do. So, whoops. So you can tell how much shorter the inside is than the outside. So go ahead and put those together the right direction. Now I'm going to go ahead and put the binding in. And I am using some shimmer ribbon. And I'm just going to take my take your pick tool and kind of push the ribbon in, and I'll just cut that end off after we're all done. Well, I think I'm going to push the ribbon in. It worked on the other 3. There we go, finally. And then we're just going to give it a little knot. This is going to hold our little book together. If I can tie a knot. Looks like maybe I could have given myself an extra 1/4 inch here. Okay. And then we'll just cut off that mess that I just made. Here's our little book, and then we're just going to layer all of our pieces on here. Now this is the part where your creativity is going to shine, right? You can get as creative with decorating your book as you want to. Now we do have our little fold here, so this is going to open, and you can decorate both sides of these pages. So we're just going to go. Now we can do these just plain. Let me pull in one of my other ones. Okay. So for this one, I added some of the die cuts from the He's the Man paper, and then some of the He's the Man paper I cut layers to go behind. But for this one, I think I'm going to just do our pieces without any layering. I kind of like that too. You know, guys don't need all that futzy stuff, but I think their hearts would be touched by this little booklet. So we're just going to make it very simple. It kind of makes me think of you know, when you're camping and you have a little guide that you keep with you. Think of Boy Scouts, right? And they'd have their little pocket guide. So this is like a little pocket guide that your guide could keep with them to remember how much you love them. And then I ended it with the Together for the Long Haul because, like I said, I thought of this as an anniversary card, just a little reminder. And of course, our anniversary was a month ago, and I don't think I even gave him a card. After almost 40 years, you kind of sometimes forget. That was bad, though. Okay, so then let's see how these will look. This was kind of like an afterthought that I just thought of now. I did it on another card, which, let me pull that card in. I'll show you what I mean. So for this card, I just stamped these and put them on the corners. It's kind of like those little metal corner tabby things that books used to have. so let's just set these on here and see if we like it. I think that'll look cool. Yes, 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 I like it. So let's add these. So here is our little mini book card for our handsome guy who we enjoy adventures with every day, who's smoking hot. That looks crooked. Oh, you'll do yours straight, right? And we're with them for the long haul. So hope you enjoyed this little project and have fun crafting. And I hope you you have fun with your guy too, and he enjoys this card. So if you need to purchase any of the supplies for this card or other crafting supplies, I will have my my link to my store right here. Happy stamping. And thanks for stopping by at the Roost.